Hey, Chicago, what do you say? It's a CHGO Cubs pregame show podcast presented by PointsBet. Use the promo code CHGO when you sign up to get 2 risk-free bets up to $2,000. Welcome into Studio B, Luke Stuckmeyer, Cody Delmendo, Ryan Herrera. It is the first official emergency CHGO Cubs Ice Cream Social.
Let's go, Ice Cream Podcast.
Oh, yeah.
West Coast game.
We need Katie.
Don't start till
Where's
9.
Katie in the chat? She's got to say it.
Come on, here we go.
Need it.
Chocolate chip cookie dough, real creamy. Real creamy.
Oh, yeah, that's melting already.
Clip this. This is going to be great for social.
This is broadcasting 101 mistake. We're all going to be phlegmy halfway through this show.
You know what?
But you know what? Don't care.
Yeah, I'll risk it.
I'll risk it for ice cream, guys.
Cubs, Dodgers. Cubs have won 4 straight series. Never thought I'd say that this year.
No, it was what, they won 3?
Go ahead, you talk. I'm eating ice cream.
They won 2 or 3 earlier in the season prior to that that losing streak. I want to say it was in May that they won because it was like but they beat the Padres in San Diego. They beat the Diamondbacks in Arizona. And then what was it? Yeah, I don't remember off the top of my head.
They did have a good road trip against the Padres and the Diamondbacks and came home.
Yeah.
Morel made his debut against the Pirates.
Oh, yeah, it was the Pirates.
Yeah,
They beat the Pirates in that series.
And then more injuries came, and it was more pain, and we all know what happens.
See, and they've had good stretches like that. The 11 games in 9 days, the Sox, Brewers, Cardinals, they did a lot better than I think they're given credit for going in because it was they ended up 5-6. I think a lot of people were predicting maybe 2 wins.
I feel like they play up to their competition. Play the level of competition a little bit sometimes.
Sometimes they play down for sure.
Yeah, we saw that in New York.
But I do think that they obviously played a lot better lately. So I didn't want to say this is a test for them because the Dodgers are just one of the best teams in MLB, and it's like, I don't know if you expect them to even split 4 games or even hardly expect them to win 1.
All right,
but
here. I'm providing morale.
Yeah,
okay? Let me provide the morale tonight.
I already did that. I brought ice cream.
You're the morale booster.
By the way, this is not Ben & Jerry's, but it's not bad. It's creamier than Ben & Jerry's. Okay, go ahead, Cody.
I also love how everyone is just yelling about Stuckies in the chat. And Jay Hans says, "Are we really Stuckies when we could be Steves?" And I prefer the Stuckies.
Yeah.
Steve, I don't.
It could be the Steve Arenos.
I can't. I still can't get over that.
That's still my favorite thing about memory of working here so far. I thought you were Steve for over half.
You're like, yeah. So you guys got to explain what exactly happened. Like, when did this start?
Some guy in the chat, RBW team or whatever I think his name is. If he's watching, shout out to you, man. He was like Cody and Steve, and then asked a question, and I was like, I brought it up after, and it'd been in the chat for 5 minutes, and then I finally brought it up. I was like, someone in the chat thinks your name is Steve, Luke. And then everyone in the chat started calling Luke Steve.
Steve Meyer.
Oh my.
Anyway, here's my morale, all right? The Cubs have won 5 of their last 6 series. They should have swept the Brewers if you really think about it. Should have swept the Red Sox if you really think about it. They played well against the Cardinals. Honestly, you can argue that they should have swept them too. And they won 3 or 4 against the Reds. I just told you the last 4 series. They're playing very well, and they didn't just do it against the Reds and Pirates and if they played the Royals or some shitty team like that. They played quality teams. And you know what? I understand that when the Dodgers came to Wrigley, it was a bloodbath. It was awful. But also, the lineup and the roster is completely different from when they played back in May. Am I saying that the Cubs are now going to win 3 or 4 or sweep the series? No. I'm not saying that, but I do think they'll at least play better this time. So I like Cubs plus 1.5 tonight. So, I think they will be in this game. If Mark Leiter Jr. pitches like he did against the Red Sox, the Cubs will be in this game.
I mean, Cody was talking playoff chances on Twitter the other day. So, I mean, we might have to bring him down a little bit, but I don't want to kill his buzz.
0.4% chance, baby.
0.4.
Right.
You're saying there's a chance.
Let me tell you what just happened to me. I just got one of those cookie dough bites where you get the gritty cookie dough at the end.
Ooh.
And that's
wonderful.
That's what life's all about right there. Let's take a look at the lineup against Tony Gonsolin, who, by the way, is 10-0 with an ERA under 2.
Yeah.
good luck against that. Ortega leading off, Nico batting second again, Hap, Suzuki, Wisdom, Rivas, Gomes, Morel, and good old Andy Simmons playing second base.
And Jordan Simmons.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if this lineup will be able to score more than a couple runs. I don't know if it's going to be able to score one run against him, but I think there are guys that are playing pretty well. Oh, I like the ice cream social graphic. Very nicely done, Kevin.
Oh, hell yeah.
By the way,
Just like
your
the
ice cream's
squirrel.
melting fast. It's hot. Studio B's hot.
Yeah.
Just like the squirrel, had to go with the theme of the day, ice cream, because it's going to be a tough series out there.
Yeah.
And I do think,
everything I just said. I mean, I'll take it all away if the Cubs get pounded 7-0 tonight or something like that.
but that's all right.
I mean, I don't even
I'm
think
trying to look optimistically because I mean, what else do we really have? I could sit here and tell you about how we
Ice
should have
cream.
spent more money. I could tell you about all my different favorite ice cream flavors.
Later.
You know, I could do that.
Later. We got a lot of time tonight.
I could really sit here and just do all kinds of bitching. If everyone wants me to do that, I'll do it.
Look at Joel's.
Ryan should have brought a spray bottle every time Cody mentions the Cubs in playoffs. Just like that gift that Corey was using at Brendan last night. on
I
Twitter.
have one. Those little we spray the cat every time.
Okay, first off, I haven't mentioned Cubs in playoffs. I just read a stat. That's all I did.
That was my fault. I mentioned you on Twitter on that. That was my bad.
Yeah.
All right, so
It's
what?
all
going.
good. It's all good.
When the Cubs get back to 500, we eat ice cream every night.
I sent a tweet that like blew up, and I sent it at like 10 o'clock at night last night, where I was like, you know, the Cubs are only 9 games out of the wild card. You know, don't let me talk myself into thinking exactly what you know that I'm thinking. And like half the people on the Bird app thought I was serious, and half the other people knew that I was just joking. But yeah, you know, it is what it is. I'd rather think optimistically than just be miserable. So right now, the Cubs are actually playing well enough to where I can just at least have some fun. Better than sitting here and complaining about the roster and Jason Hayward and Jonathan VR. Like, I don't know.
Hey, by the way, I saw Corey was on the chat. Corey, come on in, man. We got ice cream. We're going to be here until like 1 a.m. There's one goal tonight, fellas.
Yeah, you have insomnia anyway, so you're gonna be up. Might as well just
Right.
come hang out.
Yeah, there is one goal, though, tonight. And you should know what it is.
I did the math.
Sometimes you got to sacrifice your team for a fast game.
I did the math, and right now, Cody will like this. The Cubs are not they have not mathematically have zero chance of reaching your projected 87 wins. I think they have to go like 53-27 if my mental math is right. But
Ryan.
I'm no math magician.
God. I'm so glad you have to go to the ballpark, so you don't have to remind me of this.
I'm
every
telling you,
day.
there's
Jack R.
you want
believes.
to believe like there's a chance, man. 53 and 20. They're not mathematically out of winning 87 games this season. So
You're saying there's a chance.
keep the hope up, man.
Keep the hope up. Okay,
Savor the flavor. There you go.
Yeah, okay, savor the flavor. But because we have the opportunity right now, say the Cubs split this series, they can sweep Baltimore, and I can't
Why do you
remember-
think they're going to sweep Baltimore, though?
But what if they did, though?
Okay, yeah.
Because it's a 2-game series, and
What
it's
if
back
ice
at
cream
Wrigley.
was free?
Seriously though, if they split, if they
Yes.
found a way to split with the Dodgers, and then what? They have like 5 games next week.
6.
Say 6. Say they go 4-2 next week and split this series. So that's
6-4.
yeah, 6-4. Say if they go 6-4 over the next 10, and they're 14 under right now.
Yeah, what's the question?
Like what? Like
What do you think then?
They'll be less than 10 under, and
No.
unless I'm not doing math right.
No,
I'm
you're
not a
not.
math guy.
They're what, 14 under right now?
Yeah.
They would need to go to get to have to be like 8-2 or something like that.
Okay.
Anyway, no, I get what you're saying.
Like
I
say
just-
they go.
I get what you're saying.
Okay, let me instead of bringing up the teams, say they go 7-3 like they did in the recent stretch that they've been on. Say they do that again, and 3 of those losses are against the Dodgers.
Cody, I've said I don't want to tell you how to cub. And there's a lot of ice cream in the room, and there's a fridge full of beer. There is no way in hell this team is getting back to 500 or the postseason.
Well,
Absolutely no chance.
Okay.
Stop.
Okay.
All right, Jack R. If they sweep the Dodgers, I'll let Cody entertain the idea that the Cubs might make the
Hey,
playoffs.
I just said
if they sweep the Dodgers.
If they
But
sweep the
tonight
Dodgers.
they've got a pretty tough task in game number 1 of the
I
series.
said I said if they went 7-3 over the next 10, and that included 3 losses to the Dodgers, that means that they would lose 3 or 4 of the Dodgers, but then went on a hot streak after that. That's what I said. It's possible.
7-3 to get to 10 under. Ryan was right. 8-2, and then you're 9 under. Nice math. That was good in your head. I'm impressed.
There we go.
I'm really bad at math. I didn't go to Mizzou.
Mizzou isn't known for our math program. I'll tell you that much.
No, they're known for being in Missouri.
Hey, Mizzou Mafia, man.
Womp.
I won't even argue against that one.
Not yet.
Who you got? You guys ready?
Let's
Big
do it.
who you got?
I guess.
Who you got?
All
I got
right.
Seiya. Got the hot guy.
Luke was like, I won yesterday, but I'm still going to take the first pick anyway.
That's right. I waited. I waited till like 8 o'clock. Nobody had taken him. I'm like, that's it. I'm putting in Seiya.
Till 8 o'clock. I got here at 8 o'clock.
I got a cooler full of ice cream. I'm taking Seiya.
I saw a stat. I don't remember what it was, but it was like something like right-handed hitters against Gonsolin at Dodger Stadium or something this year, and it was really low. So I'm like, I'm going to have to go with the lefty because I think Hap gives the better shot of doing anything against a guy that's 10-0 with a sub-2 ERA.
Cody's talking playoffs, so Matt says, is there vodka in Cody's ice cream?
Listen, I actually really love the comments. I hope no one is really taking anything I'm saying seriously. Just let me think about it, all right? I'm a broken man, all right? I'm a millennial. We're all broken, all right? So I'm taking Morel. Morel had great at-bats yesterday. We talked about it on CHGO Cubs postgame. Had some hard-hit baseballs against some really good pitchers for the Brewers. I don't know. Gonsolin's never faced him. We'll see. And he's played well at the bottom of the lineup. So, we'll see. Yeah.
By the way, the Blackhawks have traded pretty much everybody off the team except for Caden Taves so far. We were talking about just before we came in here for the Ice Cream Social pregame show. Who's going to be the next playoff team? Cubs, Bears, Blackhawks? I would put Blackhawks at the bottom of that list, and I'm not sure the Cubs aren't at the top of the list. Like, most likely out of those 3 to be the next team to make the playoffs. Well, everybody in town's basically rebuilding. Almost everybody.
I think we can take solace in knowing that I think out of those 3 teams, the Cubs have a more proven front office to get people to believe that maybe the Cubs would make the playoffs.
And we already know something about the prospects. Like, we already know that some of the prospects are starting to look good at lower levels, whereas for hockey, you're going to have no idea if those guys are any good that they're drafting tonight, 2 first-round picks. And for the Bears, until you know what Fields really is, if Fields turns out to be no good, you can set him back another
Don't say
5,
that.
6. I'm just saying, like,
Don't say that.
If he's not good, set him back at least another 5 years.
Don't speak it into
Bears
existence.
have an easy schedule, and the NFC really sucks this year. So I would put the Bears at the top. I put the Cubs in second.
You would?
I'd
There's
put
no
Bears at the
chance
top.
the Bears make the playoffs. None.
I don't think so this year, but I don't think there's. I think they're ahead of the Cubs.
First of all, they got to get their team out of jail. I mean, half the team's been arrested in the last 3 days. They got 3 guys have been arrested since their GM took over.
Hey, I will say this. I mean, everyone wants to yell about the Ricketts in the chat every night. I mean, shit. George McCaskey, he makes Tom Ricketts look good. That's all I'm saying. So you want to talk about how teams that win and go to the playoffs all starts from top to bottom? I'm just saying.
George, big Cubs fan, by the way. Season ticket holder.
Really?
Oh, yeah, huge. Sits right by third base.
Good old George McCaskey.
Right at like just a couple rows up from third base.
Yeah. It is an interesting question, but I would right now I would lean Bears because I want to believe in Justin Fields. And if Justin Fields is the real deal, I mean,
I'm gonna say he is right now. Say he is the real deal.
Yeah,
I saw him at Ohio State play with broken ribs.
Same. I watched that game too.
And he drinks. We'll talk about it maybe later, but he does drink Owen.
That's true.
Plant-based diet.
Yeah, that alone might be it because.
I mean, I feel like I'd be a good quarterback if I stuck to a plant-based diet too, but I haven't done that yet.
Yeah, but that helps you balance out.
This is what evens it out.
Yeah,
It takes away for the calories off the ice cream. Mm-hmm. Cody, what are you betting on tonight?
Oh, well, on CHGO Bets Daily today, I just gave a parlay, and I don't necessarily like it. I'm just getting a little weird, but I will tell you that betting Seiya Suzuki to get a hit tonight is not a bad bet. Yeah, just coming off a great series in Milwaukee, and it's only minus 140 for him to get a hit. That's not bad odds. So I like that bet if anyone wants to take that. Making it on PointsBet, Luke, Ryan. It's my favorite app. Ryan, you haven't been here.
Yeah, we haven't talked about it in a while.
I'm going to tell you every morning.
Remind me what PointsBet is.
Yeah, I'm reminding you what PointsBet is. But I wake up every morning, and I look to my bedside, and I pick up my phone. First thing I do, I open up PointsBet. It's my favorite app. Absolutely love opening it up, looking at all the lines, checking out how I can spend my money to make more money.
Responsibly, of course.
Yeah. And, it's a beautiful thing to be able to have that right at your bedside. It's a great, great thing. It's also great because it is the best way to support CHGO.
It's true.
Absolutely the best way to support CHGO. If you download the PointsBet app and use code CHGO when you sign up, if you do that right now and you'll get 2 risk-free bets up to $2,000. But that's not it. If you make a $50 or more first-time deposit, receive a free CHGO membership, which unlocks all of our web content, like all the stuff Ryan is writing, of course, and you'll even get a free shirt of your choice, like what Luke and Ryan both are wearing as well.
Oh, yeah.
From the CHGO locker, of course, too. That's $2,000 in free bets, a free CHGO membership, and a free t-shirt from the CHGO locker, all for making more than a $50 first-time deposit at PointsBet. If you have any questions, you can email pointsbet@allchgo.com, and we'll help you out. You're home for live in-play betting. Just got even better. See an edge in the game you're watching. Is your favorite team prime for a comeback? Cubs are huge dogs tonight. They're going to be down early. Yes, most likely. Why not bet them live, guys? Need something to stay in the game. Betting them live just sounds like a great, fantastic time. Of course, do it responsibly. Don't just watch the game, bet along with it live. More live betting, more live markets, and faster live cash outs. Follow along with your bets the moment they hit and stay in the live action all game long. Download the PointsBet app right now and use promo code CHGO. So what are you waiting for? It's time to elevate your live betting game once the game starts. Don't just bet, live your bet life with PointsBet. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER for crisis counseling and referral services.
Robbie gets credit for being our most observant person in the chat every night. He said our paper bowls are plant-based. And he is right. The package actually says like plant-based bowls or something. They were the only ones they had at Mariano's, so that's, I had to go with it. Just soup
right now.
It's just soup.
Yeah.
I should have asked. I should have made sure that nobody is super lactose intolerant here. Otherwise, we're going to have a real long night at CHGO Studios. Nobody wants that.
I feel fine. I haven't gotten there yet.
Yeah. And you know what's great about you wake up and your PointsBet is there, Cody? The other thing is you got to have your readers there, too. It's just the truth.
Well, you can't.
First thing I look for in the morning, my readers, my phone, and then the mini fridge full of Ben and Jerry's.
How, you know how you can change the zoom or how big the lettering is on your phone?
Yeah, mine is definitely magnified slightly.
Yeah, there you go.
I don't know that. I don't believe it's the largest, but I think it's. I think there's 3 levels. Is that right? I think I'm the middle one. I know I'm not the smallest one anymore, and I have the biggest iPhone you can have. But those drops are out. Yeah. That's what I'm looking into. I just got to get the eye doctor appointment.
Think about all the stuff that you're drinking now, though, like Owen, AG1, like that. You might end up being back down.
Well, yeah, I might not even need glasses if I keep drinking Owen. Athletic Greens has improved my eyesight. That's not an official, from a doctor, but it feels like my eyesight's a little bit better.
Can I want to
placebo effect.
Can I read Joel's comment because Joel always leaves the best comments. He says, download PointsBet, immediately lost, or he said he downloaded PointsBet, immediately lost all his bets, and the bookie knocked down the door at his home and broke both of his kneecaps. Highly recommend the app, by the way. I like the interface and navigation.
That's why you bet responsibly.
Yeah, bet responsibly.
That's why you bet responsibly.
Thoughts and prayers to your kneecaps, though, bro. Anyway.
Okay. All right, so you got a few bets. We got about 10 minutes left in the Ice Cream Social pregame show, Cubs and Dodgers. Yes, we will be here at the CHGO Studios. We hope you will, too, for the postgame show. Hoping for a fast game and then for a Cubs win in that particular order in my eyes. But we do have some good news. No structural damage on Kyle Hendricks in the MRI. So, obviously, that's good news.
Yeah.
But still on the 15-day injured list. Brennan Davis, the injury. Who had that? Iowa, Des
Moines, Tommy Birch.
Tommy Birch had it. Yeah, yes. An update texting with Brennan Davis saying he does hope to, Cubs top prospect. Brennan Davis does hope to play at some point this season. I don't know if that means fall league. I don't know if that means at the very end, but I think he said next week he starts doing some running. You know, he had back surgery, and then he will start baseball activities after that, assuming he feels okay. But, you know, I mean, obviously it's all totally dependent on how he feels each and every day that he gets up.
Yeah, and that's kind of, I've been seeing other people talk about it. I'm like, you know, I'm not a back doctor, so I don't know exactly, like, but like that feels very like quick. Like I know the Cubs talked about it.
And it was a different surgery too. It was right. It was like it had something to do with it had something to do with was it nerves?
I don't remember exactly.
It was some weird nerve
pushing on the nerve or something. Yeah,
something was pushing on the nerve, but it wasn't like structural. It wasn't a disc.
Yeah, and I know the Cubs talked about it being like, you know, best case scenario. I think Hoyer said that the last time we talked, that it was best case scenario as far as the injury and what the surgery required and all that stuff. So, again, what was the report that Brennan Davis said that he could play by the end of the season, something like that? Seems quick to me, but I mean that if he's already starting a running program soon, I know, you know, sometimes you take that stuff players say with a grain of salt because players always want to be optimistic about their chances, but
in his article he did say that a text from Brennan Davis himself said that.
Well, I know, but what I'm saying is players would like to be. I'm sure Brennan Davis wants to believe he could play before the end of the season.
Right.
Players are always going to be the most optimistic of anyone in an organization as far as injuries and comeback timetables and stuff.
Gotcha.
But if he does, that's absolutely huge because he already missed, you know, the 2020 season because of COVID and no minor league season. He's going to miss at least, you know, if he comes back in like September, that's still a few months of development and playing that he misses this year. But if he can come back in September and play it all, and then maybe even play Arizona Fall League, like that's huge as far as, you know, making sure he's up next year at some point.
Right.
I think a fair way to look at it as a fan is just hope that he plays in the Arizona Fall League. Because if he doesn't play in the Arizona Fall League, and that means he won't play until spring training next year, you'd like to see him get some at-bats in the Fall League and then continue to work up into spring training next year, and then hopefully start the year with the Cubs. I mean, at this, I would say that is a possibility if he is able to play in the Fall League and has a good Fall League too. So that's more fair and leaning optimistically. But also wouldn't be surprised if he starts in AAA next year too. But as far as playing in like Iowa this year, if I'm not optimistic about that, then that says something.
Well, yeah. Again, it's like he's optimistic. Who knows if that what the real timetable is, or you know whether they let him. No, that all kind of comes down to the front office and the player development staff, and like, do we really want to push him to play again this season before the AAA season's over? We don't know, but I guess we'll see. I mean, it is nice to see that he is starting already to that running program and stuff like that's big as far as if he wants to come back at the end of the season. Like he's getting a head start because it seems quick to be starting it, but that's a good sign.
And I would think he wouldn't be texting a reporter from the newspaper about his progress if he was really down in the dumps about it. That's just a gut feeling. I believe it was Jay in the chat with an interesting comment. It was a different take on the Hendricks news that I was thinking of. He was just said, I know they said no surgery for Hendricks, but I was shocked that surgery was on the table. I assume that means this is more serious than originally thought. I guess you could read it that way, that they even mentioned it. I always assume anytime you're doing an MRI, surgery could be on the table depending on what the MRI shows. So maybe that's just semantics, but I see what Jay is saying too. To even put that phrase in there, surgery's not necessary. If you weren't really that worried about it and Hendricks was like, I'm fine to keep pitching, leave me in, I'm good. All right, I'll come out. And then the word surgery gets mentioned, even if he doesn't need surgery. Is he in a little more pain, or has it been a little more problematic than just that stint he had where he didn't pitch for about 2 weeks? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I know Kyle said that it was the same feeling, and it felt the same as far as what was bothering him.
He never went on the IL, right? He just didn't pitch for 2 weeks.
I think a
14 days.
Well, they also, because they had that, there was pretty much 3 off days that one week, when they had 2 on either side of that Baltimore series, but then that second game got rained out or postponed. I don't. Kyle kind of said that it just kind of was the same feeling as that. I know Ross talked about taking it a little more slowly this time, putting him on the IL, letting him get through the All-Star break, feel better. So I don't know that like you said, I don't know that surgery was ever the main thought. I don't know that was ever off the table either, because if you look at the MRI and you see something then or require surgery, then it's you never wanted to say it's not on the table.
And it could just be something that the PR team typed in there and didn't think about somebody might read this. I don't know. Yeah,
I don't know that it was ever more
serious
than
consideration.
More than a slim chance that it was a thing.
But they don't do MRIs unless they at least want to make sure something isn't.
Yeah. And that's another thing is I don't know that he had an MRI the last time.
Right, so maybe this was it.
This is okay, it's happening again. Let's get him checked out and see if there's anything in there that's really bothering him.
And if you're going to trade him, the other team's going to want to see those MRIs anyway. Yeah. If their thought process is somebody might want to trade for him, you also do that MRI because it's going to be required by any team that would consider trading for him, for sure. Hey, PCA going to the Futures game. We heard that news kind of starting to leak out in the post-game show last night. Now it's official.
Yeah.
That gives us something to watch.
Yeah. Thanks, Mets.
Speaking of Brendan Davis, right? Brendan Davis was the MVP
last year.
Hit a home run. Now
Didn't he have 2 home runs last year in the
PCA's the hobby guy, and hobby homered against the Sox tonight in Chicago.
Yeah, I know, Cody, you talked about it, but it's this with Jed Hoyer, and how much flack he gets. I mean, this feels like a recruiting win. It also obviously has to pan out, and he has to be a good, solid major leaguer, but it feels like this is one of those recruiting wins that he needs to get, but based on just how, just based on the way the trade deadline went last year. So, you definitely want to. What was everyone cracking up about?
We're laughing at Robbie's comment.
He wants Ross to be a player manager if we trade Contreras. And then later he says, to be fair, I'm Blaze.
I can always count on coming in here and cracking up at something.
Robbie was in the Bears. Robbie was in the Bears show the other day. I was watching it at the gym. And someone, I left a comment. And then, Robbie and a few other people were like, oh, hey, Cody. And, they knew who I was. And then I just remember saying, Robbie's my favorite. One of my favorites in the chat. He's always high as fuck.
Corey says crew had ice cream and Robbie had that gelato. Am I right?
Oh, man. Oh, Robbie.
Robbie will be eating ice cream soon.
Anyway.
I don't even know what I was saying.
As far as Jed Hoyer. Listen, we've sat on here and we've ripped Jed Hoyer a lot mainly because of this year's roster, where you could argue that if they made a few more free agent moves, and I'm not even asking for big ones, but just a few more that give some depth on this team, maybe the Cubs would have been better. So yeah, I've ripped him for that, but I'm not going to rip him and say that he needs to be fired, because early on it looks like some of these returns they got in the trades last year are perhaps going to work out. Also, the Yu Darvish trade looks like it's going to pan out. Again, we've talked about it before. The Cubs probably should have made some of these trades. If they wanted to keep a piece of the core, mainly whether it was Rizzo or Javi Baez, if they wanted to keep one of those guys, they needed to make trades earlier. I think to me, the biggest mistake is just letting Schwarber go for nothing.
I was going to say, the guy they let go the earliest was Schwarber, and he's the guy I'd rather have back. To me, out of the whole group, Schwarber's the guy I'd want, because you could put him at DH, and he'd be hitting 25 bombs by now.
He's got 27 already. He's the
guy they gave up on first.
Right. And he's the one that I kind of miss the most. Now, Chris Bryant, I feel like long-term I might miss more. But again, the front office with Theo and Jed, and again, Theo brought he helped bring the World Series, but yeah, it wasn't perfect. Should have made some moves earlier. That way he didn't leave Jed in this position to have to just go through this process, because the farm system was awful. It was. People cried about how the farm system was awful. So then the Cubs are fixing that, and we're crying because the team's not good now. But the farm system's good. We're on the pregame show, so I got to be done. But I think you just got to give Jed some time. You got to wait for some of these guys to come up. And obviously, this offseason, if the Cubs win 65
games. That's such a low
That's
bar.
98. That's 98
We're
losses.
down from 87 to 65.
If they win 65,
30 minutes.
if they we didn't even think a month ago, we were like, this team's winning 50. So I'm just saying, if they win 65 games, even after the deadline, and they sell off all these pieces, that shows to me that there's some young talent on this team. That's what I'm saying. And then it's a big offseason for Jed. That's the point that I'm getting at.
If the Cubs win the division this year, I will eat ice cream naked on a podcast. How about that?
YouTube will definitely flag us.
Yeah, that'll be censored content. 18 plus.
By the way, nobody.
Log in.
I haven't seen anybody saying they were eating ice cream. I'm a little disappointed.
A little sad.
A little sad. Nobody brought their ice
I'm not
cream.
going to be this optimistic on postgame, guys, but at least
they better bring the ice cream.
We'll have ice
We're
cream.
bringing the ice cream because I think we have the bigger studio, so it's less likely to melt by then.
Oh yeah.
Everybody else will be long gone.
Tweet photos at us if you're eating ice cream tonight.
Yep.
Yeah,
CHGO_Cubs. I'll retweet it.
My ice
I'm
cream
the runner of it.
Yours is Soupy?
Well, it's all soup.
Well, Soupy got fired by the Bears. We got more ice cream in the freezer. And a dairy-free one, too, is in there. Just,
I'll let the lactose intolerant people keep that one.
That's right.
I like my lactose.
That's right. I do like my lactose. Thanks for dropping in to check out the CHGO Cubs pregame show / first ever official ice cream social. Stick around after the game, please. Somebody stick around with us. We're going to be here. I don't care if it's midnight, if it's 1 a.m., if it's 2 a.m. We're going to be here for a full hour talking Cubs and eating ice cream. We hope to see you then.